Woo! Let's go! It's that time again for the best damn opening in Facebook Live history. Oh, it's true because it came out of my face. Assaltante Oso, that bear you all know. Often imitated, never duplicated. That fool with no hair that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! What? You heard me. The R8RBEAR! Raiders! All right, getting pompous and arrogant just in time for the show. Hunt butts at him! I'm doing it right now because I got to talk about Tom again. More Tom news. I don't want to tell the story, okay? Any more than you want to hear it. So quit your bitching. I can't even hear you and it's like I still can. I'm raided! No. Look, I realize some of you thought I was done and you opened your window again. You did that prematurely. Never premature. It's not good. I'm talking about sound and football and making a crass decision to shut the window and open it again too soon. Not my problem. If the baby's in bed, you should have shut the door. Out of hibernation to entertain Raider Nation. So what is up, peoples? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. R8RBEAR family page, and the lovely Ma Bear who's in the other room. You know, she's chilling. And Little Cub, who's, you know, an author now. Second book is on the way. She's doing all right. And so everything's going cool over here. I had some drama I had to deal with the other day, but it's like stuff with my sons and it's nothing bad. It's just stuff they got into that I had to help them with. So I helped them with it, and now I'm here. All right, so what's up, fam? Welcome to the show. And let me scoot on over here and bring up my comments. I can say hi to everyone. See who's saying hi to me. Oh, and we have an upset tonight. Wow. I mean, this is of biblical proportions. Okay. YouTube. Tradish R8RBEAR Live. First comment. Woo. MVP tonight goes to S.A. Big Dog. D, what are you doing up here upsetting the champion? He hasn't lost a gold medal in a month. What are you doing up here? Great job, S.A. Second place, silver medal. That dominant 5-emoji making son of a gun who slipped on the banana that S.A. Big Dog threw at him tonight. Mark Vargas. Okay, let me count them real quick. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, all 5. Good job, brother. Third place, my bronze medal goes to John the Lion. Leon, always dropping L's but never taking losses. John the Lion, Leon. And you know he uses that on the chicks now. He does. I'm serious. If he doesn't, he's a fool. I mean, that would work every time. And if he's married, she's going to put on the good stuff that night. You know what I mean? You know you're using it. Honorable mention to Ramiro Cashflow Castro and James and Princetta Walker. Hi, love. Leonardo Gonzalez. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you tuning in. Facebook! No surprises here. Carlos! Boy Kids! What's up? Carlos Boykins in the house. Brother, I mean, you know what? We're going to have to start maybe making some room up there on Mount Rushmore. You're starting to get a little bit of a run here. I'm impressed. Second place, my silver medal goes to one of my favorite names, Marvin Suarez. Marvin, sup, man? Marvin, we couldn't have hung out when we were younger. We couldn't have. We with that name, man, we would have gotten into so much trouble. I would have walked you into a bar, picked out the two finest senoritas in the building, and then I'd be like, hey, you know who this is? You know who this is? That's Marvin Suarez, man. I'm serious. Yeah, middleweight champion. Yeah, WBC in Mexico. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's the thing. Oh, we would. Third place, my bronze medal goes to Karina Hello. Mwah, love you, girl. Appreciate you always tuning in. R8RBEAR, R8RBEAR family page. Honorable mention to one of my favorite commenters, Joe Holman. What's up, Joe? Welcome to the show. We are members of the elite crew that is known as Joes among the world. Not G.I. Joes. It's nothing corny like that. Just Joes. You know what I mean? The Council of Joes. We meet once a year, 2 or 3 times. We have dinner, that kind of thing. Raise glasses. It's cool. He's like a grand poobah. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm in a good mood. I'm sorry. I would apologize, but I don't know how to. Kevin Kahuhano. Hano. Hi, honey. Mama Bear said hi. Raider C-Dub, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Okay, so, wait a minute. Tim, no, wait a minute. We have a Peggy alert. Wait a minute. Warning, R8RBEAR, when Peggy gets here, she's in a smart-ass mood tonight. No, Tim, no. Tim, with your permission, I would like to check your wife tonight because the whole pickup of Jalen Ramsey. You remember Nnamdi Asomugha? He was a really great Raider, okay? That guy was a shutdown corner. He was nice, okay? Young, physical. I mean, he had the perfect build. Fast, long arms, but lean. Could jump. He had it all. But when you asked him to play in man coverage or asked him to switch to the other side of the field, fish out of water. I mean, it's go back. Look at the tape. Nnamdi Asomugha was a fantastic corner, but it had to be his way. You had to let him play a little bit of zone, give a guy in front of him a little bit of cushion, and then get an idea while he's in his back pedal of what his guy's running, and then he'd be all over him because he would recognize their routes. He had great route recognition, Nnamdi Asomugha. I kind of see the same thing in Jalen Ramsey. The moment he left where he was before he came to the Dolphins, he was in one of those situations that Nnamdi Asomugha was in where he just patrolled one side of the field, the Rams, one side of the field, did not go back and forth, did not follow the person in motion. And when you do that, it is a little bit of a hamper to your defense because the other team knows now if they motion someone from his side, even if Jalen Ramsey's covering that guy, he's not going to go with them. He's going to release them into coverage, and they're going to change the coverage in that split second where Ramsey's letting him go. And because he does that and he's a veteran and that's how he's come up as a defensive back, they're going to want to honor that. So they're not going to expect him to go across the middle. So that means the entire defense for Pittsburgh is going to have to adjust every time there's a motion away from Jalen Ramsey's side. They're probably going to be going to that side, but are you going to be able to stop it? Because Jalen Ramsey, the guy you brought in for help with that, is on the opposite side, standing there going, I only play well here on the left side. I have to be on the left, right in front of my guy. I make decisions, be athletic with him. Which, you know, when you're getting older, did you like the impression? But when you're getting older, the first thing that goes is that athleticism and that speed. And I'm not saying his has gone, because it hasn't. But he's older. You know, you guys have heard me say it 100 times. He's older than he's ever been. And every year and every time he comes back, you know, you're losing a little bit. You know what I mean? That's just father time. There's just nothing anybody can do about that. Corinna, I had to say his name. I only said the first name that time, though. Jeff Poindexter, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. I like that profile pic. Carlos Perez, Raider Skellington, what's up, man? Long time no talk. Ellis Irving, I see you there. What's up? How you miss what? R8RBEAR! Stephen Shaw, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. And Mrs. Shaw, of course. And everyone, before I forget, because I'm in a great mood, and I always do that, I tend to forget, because I'm not a businessman. I do this because I love the nation and the Raiders. But if you would, consider subscription to R8RBEAR family page. Now, remember, on YouTube, it's free, so if you really would, it would help us out a lot. If you subscribe, go up to the top to the channel and hit that little bell so you get notified. And then, if you would, just hit like on the video. Just take that moment now. In the process of my speech I'm giving you, you could have had it done already, so let me keep going to give you a few more seconds to go up there and press that little subscribe and that channel button and, oh, with the little bell. And so on, and so on, and so on. Stephen Shaw and Mrs. Shaw and Corinna Trujillo. Stars contributed to the show go directly to charities like the Kind Fund, Kids in Need of Desks, and many others that we work with. And we are now working with the Wounded Warriors Project, a suggestion of one of my viewers, and I thought it was cool, so I'm going with that. And much more. And it helps provide things for the show, too, like these apps we work with and all this good stuff. Tony makes it dip. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Oh, wow, it's hailing in Arizona. Can you believe that? I can actually hear it hitting my roof. Okay, so guys, there was a rating put out today for the AFC West. Who has the best offensive line in order? Here's how we're going to do it. In fourth place was the Kansas City Chiefs, dead last. I actually agreed with that. Obviously, the Chiefs were almost the Super Bowl champs and were the Super Bowl champs the last couple of years prior. So, and they've still always had these offensive line problems. So I hate saying this, but they kind of showed the rest of the league. They've got to stop making these excuses about, oh, well, my offensive line's not intact, and, oh, we don't have our best center on defense. And, I mean, guys, every team in the league has problems. Every team in the league has a different combination of guys on the offensive line and the defensive line. We've all played football, and they've all played football. A lot of them since they were in Wii football. You don't have excuses for this. If they're not playing better, get better coaching. If they're not getting it done, get better strength and conditioning trainers. If they're not getting it done, get better nutritionists to make sure they're eating right and going to sleep and getting up on time, but consistently so their body starts to heal and repair and get stronger. See, I see teams like that they have part of the formula, but not all of the formula. They have a good general manager, they have a good head coach, but their strength and conditioning team is garbage. And they just brought him on, and the only team they ever did it for was one time, like in college. And then they come to the NFL, and they're supposed to be ready to do it with NFL players. And it's a totally different level, different attitude of player. You got to be able to reach them mentally. So the Kansas City Chiefs came in fourth. In third place was our beloved Las Vegas Raiders. Now, some Raider fans I know are going to take that as disrespect that they put us in third place. You got to understand, even though we're in third place in the best of the offensive line lineup, I felt like that was fair because you have directly in front of us in second is the Denver Broncos. Now, the Denver Broncos aren't a better team than we are, in my opinion, but I think their offensive line is further along than ours is. I do believe that. And in part just because we do have talent, but we haven't brought it all together. And the talent we have bringing together is now having to get used to, again, another coaching staff and another offense. You see what I'm saying? And so that's going to kind of trip you up a little bit too. So I was glad that they respected us and didn't make us fourth and put the Chiefs in front of us just because they've had a higher success record the last 4 or 5 years, 15 years. Hey, we beat him in their house. That's all I remember. Jimmy Mata, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Jeremy McCary, I see you there. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Stephen Marchand, always there for R8R Bear. Mike Hendu Henderson, what's up, Mike? Denton Rhodes, Space Force. Christian Velez, easy with the Brian Koberger. I'm okay with the Free and Diddy, but not Brian Koberger. That guy's a sicko, man. Benny Arriaga, what's up? Welcome to the show. Arthur Munoz, welcome to you, brother. Appreciate you tuning in. Now, I got into a conversation, and the question was brought up. I think I saw it on silverandblacknation.com. So check that out if you want. It's on Silver and Black Nation. Pretty positive. Anyway, they were discussing whether or not they felt like Gino would be able to get to 4,000 yards. I can hear it. Is that why you came in?
I was just gonna.
It sounds like a storm came and settled over our house.
And it's tearing up everything in the backyard. I was gonna ask if anybody possibly could end just a little early because the screen behind the hot tub ripped out of the things and it's banging in the metal thing.
Oh, boy.
Window.
Okay.
And it's like
Okay.
and it's bad.
Okay.
It's like the worst it's ever been.
Okay. Jesus. Mama Bear just informed me that the storm is kicking up the screens and the furniture and other stuff we have in our backyard, so I may have to cut this a little bit short to go out there and save stuff. What?
No, we can't save anything. We can't even go out in the water because there's lightning. I just need the screen fixed. But all my statues are...
That's the same thing. You're saying we can't go outside, but I just need the screen fixed. You're killing me.
Patio.
Yes, dear. Arthur Munoz, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Linda,
Yeah.
grab that. There's a cue card on the table. It's right by my hat. Just grab that for me. Should be on the island. Bear, I know your eyes are playing tricks on you. I won the gold medal, but I understand how politics work too. More importantly, here's another fun Spanish word to get familiarized with. Salvadorino. I'm not Mexican, but I do love tacos. Go Raiders. I love this guy. Marvin, I appreciate that. Salvadorino. I'll practice. Lance Sanfilippo, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Okay, thank you, Ma. Okay, because I just about every show, I do a certain amount of research for you guys, and I try to go out and find the numbers and try to find the key answers to certain questions. That's why every once in a while you guys ask me a question that catches me off guard. And because, like, for example, I forgot pre-show I was going to make sure I wanted to see how much cap space we had, and then I wanted to see how our dead cap space is going to be affected by some of the guys that we're probably going to let go here. I can't report this yet, but I do think we're going to let go of Christian Wilkins. I can't see any scenario where you keep a guy who's, you know, a gigantic guy. Obviously, he's a big man, and he has a Jones fracture, where a Jones fracture, for those of you who are new to the show or just seeing me tonight and didn't see me last night, a Jones fracture is the fracture that goes along the outside edge of your foot. So think about it like when you're in basketball, how you're dribbling one way and then you stop with your foot and you put all that pressure on the outside of your foot as you plant your foot down. That's the bone he broke. And the worst part is it runs from the two pinky, well, there's only one pinky toe, but the pinky and the one next to it, those two toes and that bone that runs all the way back down to his heel, it broke, like, bad. And so he had a heel. It was starting to get better, and then from what the word they're releasing is he re-aggravated it. So, you know, that's the nice way of saying he's still hurt, but I think he may have actually broke the bone again. Yes, Tanamoku, they would just take their best receivers and move them off Asamoah's size and off his side of the field. And it was kind of a way to neutralize him, but at the same time, you're still doing something incredibly effective. You're shutting down one side of the field. So whoever they rotate to that side or whoever happens to be on that side running a route, Nnamdi's going to do his job and he's going to shut him down. Just say the shady one or the tuckster. The tuckster, I like that. What's up, Bob? Welcome to the show, brother. Brother, I got hail and rain and high winds and humidity. It's nuts, and I think that's what was fudging my signal earlier when we were trying to talk earlier today on my subscribers only show. Ray Raiders. What's up, Jason Polk? Welcome to the show. Hi, Peggy. Since I've been honest in talking about my Steelers, I wanted to score a couple on you. So I called my dad for juicy ones. Do you remember drafting the all-star Todd That's low, Peggy. Okay, that's low in 1991, and you could have had Brett Favre. Yeah. Well, we see how Brett Favre turned out, too. A guy who steals medical funds for children and the elderly. I'll pass. And got dumped by his wife because he's a cheating piece of garbage. Oh, and in 2004, you picked up Kerry Collins in free agency. He gave the New York Giants everything he had. By the time we got him, he wasn't any good anymore. And drafted Robert Gallery. That was bad. We passed on Big Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, now we know how that one ended, too. So no matter what Ben would have done for us, everyone would have remembered him as the Raider rapist in some bathroom in some dive bar, wherever they were at, nightclub. But yeah, you're right on all of those, Peggy. Nice. You got a Genty jersey already? Nicely done, Bob. Dustin King. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. What's good, Bear? How we looking on salary cap? Come on. If you can make any big moves before the season starts. Now, I know you've been watching, so I just mentioned it. I'm not sure what the cap space is right now. Hold on. Let's see if I can't just do it while we're talking. Let's see. No, like that, and then like this. Las Vegas Raiders current cap space. Okay, let's see. No, that didn't really give me what I wanted. Okay, here we go. As of July the 2nd, obviously 2025, that's what, yesterday? No, today. As of today, the Raiders' current cap space is reported to be $50.6 million. So it's gone down some, but still, that's a lot of money. So reality, think of it like that would be probably top 10, top 15 in teams with the most cap space. So we're up there. Even if we had to get into a bidding war for someone, we probably could. But we're not a good enough team yet to argue about making a bidding war like for a Jalen Ramsey, because we're not one player away. If you're one player away, you outbid the Steelers, or at least you try. But yeah, you can't do that with the way we're on right now. Jesse Parker, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show, my fashion designer. What's up with Miami Dolphins out of retirement? What's up with Miami Dolphins out of retirement? I'm not sure what that means, brother. I apologize. Hey, whatever you got to say about Candy, ask Brady, get it out of the way so I can go puke and enjoy the rest of the show rather than sitting here with an upset stomach. All right, Joe. I would say this, brother. I've already talked about the fact that Tom, in my opinion, wants Cam Miller to play. Now, if Geno Smith doesn't have a pretty good year, he's going to get pulled. Now, fortunately, I believe, and I would probably put a pretty substantial bet on this, that Geno Smith is going to have a pretty decent season. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 25 touchdowns, 26 maybe, and then the rest will be on the ground and spread out between different wide receivers, but mostly Jack Besh. What?
You fixed it.
Oh, you got it? Yeah. You're such a badass. I love you, Sweet Pea. My daughter went out and did it. She's so dope. Okay, I'm sorry, I lost where I was going. But anyway, the wide receivers, Jack Besh, tight end, our guy Brock Bowers, and now with Michael Mayer. Guys, I don't think we can take anything from what we saw of Michael Mayer in his first season as a rookie. I just think that, try to think of it as yourselves, okay? A lot of you have started a new job. Whether you're old or young, you know, if you've ever had a job ever, you were starting a new job, okay? And you remember how nervous you were going into that job, okay? Now, those nerves can get 10 times worse if, say, your first week on the job, your auntie dies or your sister or something crazy like that. I think something crazy like that happened to him. I don't know what it is because, to my knowledge, Michael Mayer's been able to keep what was going on in his life out of the press. I haven't really seen much about it. And when I've tried to search, it just keeps saying he needed a leave of absence and the Raiders were okay with it. But then somewhere in that leave of absence, he was on leave too long. The Raiders were getting annoyed, and they were thinking about using him as a trade piece and moving on. And from what I understand, Michael Mayer got a little bit annoyed with the Raiders for not being patient with him in something like that. Well, anyway, long story short, apparently they've crossed that. I'm amazed. I honestly, I'm amazed. Normally, a player never makes it back from that. You go across that bridge with an owner or the coach, usually you're gone. And instead, Michael Mayer's back. He looks rejuvenated. He's talking about how much he loves being a Raider, and the Raiders are universally saying, yes, it's great to see Michael Mayer back in his right frame of mind, and he's going to go out there and tear it up for the Raiders. And I was just like, okay, you know what I mean? Because I thought it was over. I thought Michael Mayer was gone. Steven and Mrs. Shaw gave me this super awesome cup. Check this out. Raider fans, and it says how sweet Raider fans are and stuff like that, like the sugar in Raider fans. It's funny. The Chiefs suck and put their Venmo apps to heavy use on game days, directly depositing money to the Zebras and company. Yeah, Marvin, it's been like that for a while, but you know how it is. It's like with the NBA, the Lakers are going to get calls, the Celtics are going to get calls, the Warriors are going to get calls. You know what I mean? It happens. You know what I mean? The Spurs are going to get calls. When they had Tim Duncan and they went on that long run with Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and their coach, you know what I mean? They became legendary, and so you get that in sports. You at some point, we have to stop thinking about all the cool things about the sport and stop and think about just one thing for a moment. The people who run this sport want to make money, and they want to control the sport to a certain extent, almost like they're creating a movie, and then in theaters or stadiums, here's our movie, Raiders Chiefs, Raiders Chargers, whatever the case may be. And it's gotten that way more so than ever, where I don't think it's cheating. I want to be clear. It's not cheating. But what they do is they say that they have this system for predicting each year who gets what schedule and how tough their schedule is based on strength of schedule and how they perform the year prior and blah, blah, blah. And I just think it's a cock of, you know what I mean? It's garbage. I don't believe it at all. You know what I mean? And look what happened. They got the Super Bowl they wanted. They got a great team that has a huge fan base. But look at what happened to the NBA. You know what I mean? You had the Thunder and the Pacers, and nobody was watching. I heard the Game 7 that they had broke all the records for any playoff game and championship ever. It had the highest ratings ever. But all the games prior to that, you know what I mean? Because nobody cares about those markets. Indiana. Give me a break. With Wilkins being out, can you see Wilson step into the middle on the D-line? Kevin, it's probably going to be mostly Tonka Hemingway. They are very excited about Tonka Hemingway. And you know who right now is Pete Carroll's favorite player? And I'll give you a hint. It sounds like those chips kids are eating right now. Those Takis. Now I gave it away. Now you all know. But Laki Tassi, man, that guy, for being a super green, I don't know anything. I'm coming from rugby. I'm trying to learn football. Dude's learning fast. And remember, he's not playing a super complicated position. You know what I mean? Even an offensive lineman really has more to do and to think about and to process than a defensive lineman does. Defensive linemen just have to worry about maintaining their gaps, you know what I mean, and trying to get moves to stop the running back or get to a quarterback or knock the ball down, get their hands up. But they have very little. That's pretty much it. You know what I mean? You're trying to get by an offensive lineman to try to knock down the quarterback or the running back, and you play the gaps. That's it. And sometimes you're going to play stunts. And the guy standing next to you will just tap you on the arm twice, and that means we're going to stunt on this one, that kind of thing. So I think it's going to be Tonka Hemingway, and I think he's going to have a good year. I really do. I think he's going to be a real nice surprise for us. Not to mention, too, I don't know why I feel good about Malcolm Kuntz all of a sudden, but I kind of feel good about Malcolm Kuntz. I really do. I feel good about Malcolm Kuntz. I know he's been training harder. I know he's gained size, and I know he's trying to become the bookend for Max Crosby. Okay, that's all true. I didn't think he could do it. I'm being honest. I did not think he could do it. But what I like is that he gained 10, 12 pounds, all muscle, He stayed humble. He never complained about his minutes. He just kept waiting for an opportunity. When he got it with AP, he went off, got 8 sacks in 6 games. Great job. Fast forward now, we're here with a real coach. He's getting a genuine opportunity, but he signs a 1-year prove-it deal with the Raiders. When he could have went into the market and he could have probably gotten 20, 22 million a season easy from someone that needed a genuine pass rusher. And whether he put up big stats for us or not isn't the point. He is experienced there now. And if he comes to fruition and suddenly starts to become a great player, try to remember, most of your athletes don't produce in their first season. That's been the thing now. You're looking for rookies that are, gods right off the bat. Kind of LeBron kind of started that, and Kobe and Kevin Garnett, because they came right out of high school to the NBA and showed people that you could do that. And it made owners froth at the mouth, because now you were getting a guy for an extra 4 or 5 years on cheap money while he's developing and trying to show you he can do it. And most of the time it takes 3 to 4 years. I find that players get better in their 3rd and 4th year. If they're going to be stars, that's when they do it. Otherwise, they're just going to stay what they've been in season 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know what I'm saying? Darren Waller came out of retirement and signed with the Dolphins. Tom, I don't think it's a good look. Everything Darren Waller did made him look kind of stupid. And in my opinion, it won't work with the Dolphins. It won't work. And when I say that, what I mean is give me whatever team you'd like and say Darren Waller signed with them today. And I would say it's not going to work because it's up here. Darren Waller, to me, is not a serious person. It was great to get him as a Raider. I like that we saved him and saw his drug rehab story, and he was right in the middle of the beginning of his first genuine walk to sobriety, and he did that with us as the Raiders, and that was beautiful. But the same things that make you fall for sobriety, a weakness up here, an inability to be strong sometimes in the most stressful situations, marries a beautiful, wealthy, rich female NBA player, jerks around and acts so stupid that within a month she's divorcing him. You know what I mean? And the worst part is he asked for it. He asked for the divorce. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't begrudge a guy for wanting out of a marriage, but that fast? You know what I mean? You were supposed to be with her forever, and then you changed your mind within a week? I mean, come on, man. I just think he's weak in the mind. I don't think he's going to be good wherever he goes. I really don't. I think he's one of those guys, if he goes across the middle, he gets hit, it'll be soft, and he'll probably go sit down. I don't see it. I wanted to love him as a Raider, but he just, in my opinion, he just never brought it. You know what I mean? When we watched him play, be honest, you had this like excitement where you were like, come on, catch the ball, run with it and do lots of cool stuff. We can tell you can. And then he wouldn't, you know what I mean? And then we'd wait for it and the ball would go to him and then he'd, do something a little bit, and we'd be like, going crazy. And then, you don't get another great catch and run like that for another, couple Sundays. So I'm good. Yeah, the Raiders have never gotten calls, but at the same time, we were and are a marquee franchise in the NFL. The NFL cut its teeth with teams like the Raiders. And we dominated and had more wins and championships than anyone in the early 90s. Anyone. Baseball, basketball, hockey, we were out there as far as total wins. The Raiders. Now, obviously, we got caught. It was in the early 90s. But I think that we'll be better. I think it's just going to take a little time, but I think Pete's on the right track. I really do. And we will get calls because we're going to have better personnel and we're going to play better football. Okay, let's see. What's up, Joe? I think Mayer might have lost his head over a girl at his age, especially if you're not all that mature. It ain't that uncommon. It happened to me around his age, and that damn near destroyed my life. Joe, thank you. I appreciate that. Sharing of yourself and giving me a great football comment. That was excellent. I would say to you that very well could be right. And God is my witness. I was helping my son with a similar situation, affairs of the heart, and getting heartbroken or breaking someone else's heart and stuff like that. And he just moved back to LA and he just started this great new job and everything was on a good roll. And then he has all this drama enter his life. Jason, I appreciate that, brother. This is the baby blue. I just realized looking behind me, it looks like I have two of the same hat, but they're actually not. The one next to the black one right here, that one's all stone. It's supposed to be concrete. That's what they called that color. And then the one below it, the one down here, that has the American flag in silver. You can just, if you look at it closely, you can just barely see the little ghost stripes of the American flag going through it. It's two of my favorites. And Mama Bear just got me this one with some matching baby blue Chuck Taylors that I freaking love. On that note, I can't wait until whatever sports mafia decides to make their money off the Raiders as the Super Bowl champs. I wouldn't mind. I'm not going to say Super Bowl champs in year one, but I would say division. I feel like the Broncos, although they have a good defense, I don't think they've found their personality yet, and they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do. Their young quarterback is good, but, is he really a franchise guy? I don't think so. Okay, and then the Chargers have got everyone excited about Harbaugh and all that. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. I'm not buying the Chargers at all. Their defense has gotten old. They finally got rid of Joey Bosa. They've got to redo their defensive line. They've got holes and problems just like we do. I don't like the Chargers to win anything. So I feel like it's between us and the Chiefs to reclaim, or for us to take it from them, the AFC West. Now, if we do that, I'm good, because that means we're going to the playoffs. To me, that's so much growth compared to last year. I don't care what we do after that, and you shouldn't either. Yeah, we want a Super Bowl. Every single season, you want a Super Bowl. That's the goal for every team. But if we don't get there, but we make that much improvement, now that would be an indicator that for like the next 4 or 5 seasons, we're going to always be threatening to go to the Super Bowl. See, I'd rather have that. Build me a team that every single season you're going and challenging. Now, what is one of those teams that for over a decade did that? The Patriots. And yes, we hated them, and they were ran by that minority owner of ours. And so he wants to bring that same template to the Raiders. Did anyone else notice, too, that Mark Davis's mom, after she passed away, it grandfathers the Raiders situation to Mark Davis, and now Mark Davis is the pro facto owner of the Raiders without any penalties holding him back whatsoever, so he can sell the Raiders at any time? I'm sorry, I'm excited about that. I loved Al Davis. I don't love Mark Davis. I think Mark Davis is a passionate owner that wants to win, but I also think he wants to be stinking rich, and I think he's going to sell the team. And I don't know who he's going to sell it to, but I think it's that time. I don't. My diehard viewers, Bob Stannard, I know will remember this, but when we first went to Vegas, I said that the Vegas Raiders and Mark Davis were leased up to their neck, like a noose that's just tight enough, and you're standing on a chair with only one foot on it because your other one's tiptoeing. You can barely stand on, or you're going to be hung. That's how Mark Davis has been for like the last 5-6 years with this project with Las Vegas getting the building built, taking all these massive loans, being super underwater on all of them, and he still is. He has to put back something like, I don't know, like 20 million, 22 million every single season back into the Raiders. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot by rich people standards, but he still has to do all that other stuff with the stadium and the players and their contracts, and then has to find money to do that too. And, we've all known he's been not exactly the richest owner in the league. Tony, I thought that what happened in the news with Geno Smith was way overblown. All he was shouting was, "That's why they pay me the big bucks." And he was trash talking. He was getting kind of loud. And the reason he was shouting is because he was on an open football field during a game with guys cracking helmets and shouting and stuff. He wanted the people on the other side of the field, he wanted to make sure they could hear him because they had just won the game. And it was because of Geno Smith's call. He made the call, they made the play, and they won the game. And he went, "That's why they give me the big bucks." I mean, come on. Who hasn't heard that statement made by someone in their lifetime? I know I have. I've had bosses in the past say that. At multiple jobs. I'm sure some of you have heard it too. And so it's a very commonplace thing to say. Was he talking trash? Yeah, but that's about as clean a trash talking as you can do. He didn't use any foul language. He just simply said, "That's why they pay me the big bucks, buddies." He was talking junk, and he kept saying that. He didn't cuss. He just kept saying the same thing over and over again. He took a few seconds and he went, "Woo! That's why they pay me the big bucks." And he kept getting louder and louder. And then here comes Tom in the news goes right to a reporter. I don't like that kind of attitude. I don't like that kind of behavior from my starting quarterback. We're going to have a little talk with him. What is he? What is this, Wii football now? He embarrassed your Wii little high school program, Tommy boy? Shut up. Ah, God, he gets on my nerves. Tony Make a Dip said the Chiefs are being dethroned this year. Tony, I got to be honest with you. I honestly thought it was going to be last year. I really did. I thought it was going to be last year. Tanamoku, if he's being looked at on the offensive line, that's news to me. That's news to me. And it definitely isn't as a starter. They may be looking at him as someone for depth. And you do that all the time with linemen. You make them offensive, defensive line. Sometimes they're left tackle, and you beg them to play right tackle because you need help there. Linemen are interchangeable. Most of the time at one point or another, like in Wii football, they might have played center. You know what I mean? And then in high school, or Pee Wee football, they play right tackle. And then suddenly they're a linebacker when they get to high school because they thinned out and they're still muscular, blah, 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 blah. So they get experience with playing those other positions. Matt Olson is my favorite A's player, Bob Standard. Shut your face. Casey, come get your husband. Jeremy Friedland said, Raiders! This will be a great season, and I can't wait. Great profile picture, bro. Colton Miller may be the key to the season. Which one do we get? I think you keep Colton Miller if we, if we just have faith in him, he'll be okay. Colton Miller is just a quiet guy. And so when he gets hurt, you worry because he doesn't really talk that much. He doesn't really do much press ever, even whether it's good or bad press. He's not a hypocrite. He's just a quiet guy, and so I don't bet against Colton Miller. And I did when he was a rookie. And you guys know me. I'm not the kind where I act like I'm perfect and I never get anything wrong. I got Colton Miller wrong. I thought he was sloppy. I didn't like his footwork. I didn't like his back pedal. I didn't like his technique. In other words, he was too tall, and he didn't understand how to get down and back pedal, because if you get too tall, they can Eiffel Tower you and, just tip you backward with a power jab to your chest or your chin. Hit you real hard in the middle and then go around you when you're getting stunned. And I hated how he played. His rookie season, he did all those things, and he made me look like I was right. And then his second season, I've never seen anything like it. I mean that honestly. I've never seen anything like it. It was like he was a different guy. The footwork was better. The technique was better. He sat down in the position better. He looked stronger. And then when I started reading comments from some of the other players, they were praising him for the fact that he got stronger over the offseason, was lifting weights in the power program, but even more than he had in the past, because he realized what the level of the NFL was, thought he could play at that level, realized that he wasn't quite strong enough. There's just some guys in front of you, man. This is the elite, the best of the best, and he had to get stronger. Because when you play in college, you might face one guy, maybe two like that all year, and the rest of the guys you play in college football, they're just a bunch of cupcakes compared to guys that are going to make it to the NFL. So when Colton Miller was at UCLA, he was blocking guys like it was nothing. Nobody could get even pressures on his quarterback, and he was the captain of the team, of the offensive line. I wouldn't mind trying to get an Aaron out of retirement. No. See, that's the kind of logic we would have had 5 years ago, because we knew we were going to have a bad season anyway. We still love our Raiders, and so let's just go get a guy and hope maybe he gets a spark or something. No, we can't think like that anymore. If we go out and get someone, he's got to be better than Geno Smith, and if he's not, then you ride with Geno Smith. I love the fact that they have put emphasis on incorporating Mayer into the offense. No trade is necessary. Raider Devillion, I'm really glad they came to their senses in that, because you basically have two Brock Bowers. You have two Michael Mayers. At any time, these guys are going to be able to manhandle guys and get open and make combat catches and, great route running recognition and so on. And Mayer's only going to get better working with Brock Bauer and vice versa. Because, Brock Bauer might not learn anything from him because that guy is elite. I mean, in his rookie season, he broke a whole bunch of records. But he still may just learn some small things from how Michael Mayer plays, and he'll be pushed by him because he'll want to keep showing him, you're number 2, buddy. I'm the best tight end on this team. How much do you think Davis shipping Waller off to the Giants shortly after his wedding when his wife played for Vegas had to do with the divorce? I'm not sure how much it had to do with that because I can't say I've honestly heard any dialogue. People that talk to me about the Raiders that give me inside knowledge, I've never heard that talked about. So I can't answer that intelligently. Oops. Bear, do you see the Raiders making a move before camp opens in late July? Yes. Bear, did you get the Final Fantasy MTG set? Raider Devillion, no. See, you can't do that. If you start talking about Magic the Gathering, you're taking me out. That's my other love, Raiders, Magic, Raiders. I mean, it's right there, I'm in a non-monogamous throuple with the Raiders and Magic. And no, I did not get any yet. I spotted a new box, the box sets they do. My daughter spotted a box set. It was like $80 at Fry's. I thought that was pretty good because normally when it's a new exciting set like that, usually they start at $100. You remember like when Kamigawa came out. Kamigawa was expensive, but I did it anyway. I didn't care. Some of it I did some trade in because I have some very old, expensive Magic cards, so I can just grab a couple of those. I've got like 3. Each one is worth $75, and I can just take like one of those and another one that I have that's $100 and take that, and they give me a store credit for like $300-400, and then I can buy whatever I want. I'm not even really spending my cash. I'm just using some of my memorabilia that I've collected over the years. Saying the Raiders are going to win the division is gaslighting. Beazela. I want to make sure I say that right. V. Beazela. I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry, V. Beazela. Welcome to the show. Now, I'm not gaslighting. I'm saying that I feel like we have a chance to do that. I'm not saying that we are going to do that. I'm saying I feel like we have a chance. And part of the reason I'm saying that is because the number one problem, the number one deterrent to us getting there has always been the Chiefs. Well, they're, looking a little bit off. Last year they looked a little bit off. This year we're hearing they're even more so. And so if that's the case, why can't it be us that leapfrogs the Chargers and the Broncos and makes a move? That was not capping. Sell to the guy who just paid 10 bills for the Lakers, right? I didn't see Mark selling the team. He wants to prove he can turn this team around, and he is heading in the right direction. Raider Rebel, I don't necessarily want to be right. I like the fact that the Davis family has had the team all this time. But, everyone gets old. Everyone passes away. You know what I mean? And it's not going to be in the Davis family forever. You know what I mean? And I don't see Mark as being nostalgic. You know what I mean? I don't think that he wants to prove he can turn the team around because he's had it for 12, 13 years, and he's had 2 winning seasons, I think it is. And I'm being nice. I know it's more than that. I think he's had the Raiders for like 14 seasons, and he's got like 2 winning seasons. You can't fire yourself, but he should fire himself. I don't know what the issues are with what Gino said. Oh, Raider C-Dub, I saw the video. I didn't hear that. That would get you in trouble. I didn't hear that. If he used the N-word, especially at a youth football game, if you're in the hood, okay, you're in the hood, because when you're in the hood, they just talk like that, but you're still right. You can't have that contract and represent the team and do that. I would love for the Raiders to knock off the Chiefs in the playoffs, hopes to dethrone them in the AFC West at the same time. Part 2 of it might all be happening on the last game of the season in Vegas. Part 1 is when we roll into KC and take Andy's bucket of chicken in October. Go with Krispy Kreme next time. He loves donuts, specifically Krispy Kreme. He's actually talked about it. It's weird. Steven Shaw! Tossie should not be wasted on the O-line. If we can develop him into a monster at defensive tackle, I believe in the development of Lockie. Raider Devillion, great comment. I actually like it too because Pete Carroll is a no-nonsense coach who's been around for a long time. So he has no fear. He's not looking over his back at people chasing after his job or anything like that. He's too old, too experienced. He's made too much money. He doesn't care. Other than that, he wasn't ready to leave the game. And then he gets a job with the rebel franchise of the NFL. And I'm sorry, I just think that's motivating the hell out of him. And when we saw him on video not too recently, he was standing next to Laki Tassi, and he was stunned at the fact that Laki Tassi had taken a knee and was still almost looking him dead in his face. That man is so huge. And he's like 12 years old. He is. He's like a little kid. I love it. I think he's going to be good. I do. Because, I mean, with a body like that, a freakish body like that, you've got to give him an opportunity. If he's terrible, then don't play him. But if he's even decent, I would try to let him work his way through games and figure it out. Maybe they were just trying Tassi out there to see how he does. Yeah, just flexibility. If you know what is Tim Brown doing, Rosanna Pucci, I do not know what Tim Brown's doing right now. I'm back. Sheesh. I was watching on my phone and the battery died. Had to look for my iPad. Thank you, love. Matthew Fagan, my prediction is they give Colton Miller a new contract, not a huge contract, but definitely an extension. He can't play another year with no guaranteed money, can he? I don't think it would be smart for his career, Matthew, so I would say you're asking me that as a question, but instead I'm just going to say, if that was what you're thinking, I agree with you. I don't think he can do that. That's too much risk. And more importantly, he has enough of a resume as a good player and a starter that if the Raiders got hanky with him in any way, there's going to be a lot of teams that, would love to have an experienced, sometimes dominant left tackle. With Victor Alexander, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Pepe Le Pew, hippa. With Pete Carroll and John Spytek ushering in a new era, how do you see the Raiders balancing their historic identity with the demands of a modern NFL, especially with young stars like Ashton Jeanty and Brock Bowers stepping into leadership roles? Okay, Victor, I don't think that, honestly, that they can do that anymore. The era of the feared Raiders because we're smashing you and doing all these things, that we just have to remember that. It's beautiful. We had legends that are now like on Mount Olympus. You know what I mean? Otis Ostrunk and Jack Tatum and all the guys that we love from that era. But those eras, because we had some great teams there. But I don't think that's the era of winning that way. I don't think that exists anymore. The NFL is trying to sort of legislate damage out of the NFL as best they can. You know what I mean? And so I think Jeremy Chin, Landon Roberts, Tonka Hemingway, and a couple other guys that are new to the team are going to be blasters. Oh, and Jermaine Pratt, blaster. These are guys that are real aggressive. So we're going to get some hits. We're going to see some very strong defense. But I don't think it's going to be like our old Raiders. I think it's just going to be nice to see us win with a super tough defense and a great running attack. Yeah, Tanamoku, I would agree with that. We should have beat them twice last year. They were having trouble scoring all season. Oh, why did my guy leave me alone? No, don't do that. What? Don't do that. No, don't do that. Minor technical difficulties. Tweaked those on my own. All right, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force, for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice, active and veteran. Much love. One more time. R8RBEAR! Woo! Much love. I will see you tomorrow. R8RBEAR family page. Keep it sexy. Keep it polite. Keep it cat classy.